Previously on the Jay and Dan podcast.
My mom sent out a text to me and my sibling. She said,
why don't you pick up the slack, you
No, she's
something like that, or am I paraphrasing?
So I saw a band was playing named Choir. 2 people.
What? 2 people?
Yeah, it's just because the crowd is the choir. They stopped the first song, mid-song. They said, someone's singing way too loud.
Oh, no.
And trying to be like in key. Who is it? And everyone points at a guy. It's my cousin Daryl.
Hey, Daryl, shut the up. Shut the up, Daryl. We're trying to sing a song in Peterborough.
Our last interview ran long, so this is going to be short. Should we call you back next week, or should we just bang this out?
I don't care, whatever you guys want to do. It's your show.
Whee! Squeal like a pig. Whee!
You're listening to the Jay and Dan podcast, presented by our good friends at Coors Light.
F*** you, Daryl.
Dance. Dance.
What a... is my mic on? Is this
It's
working?
on. Oh, yeah, it's all working.
What a huge week in Canada. It's the week of October 15th, 2018. My daughter Sydney turns 11 on the 16th, and weed becomes legal the next day.
Uh-oh. And then on the 19th, the Arkells' new album, Rally Cry, comes out.
What?
And it's in stores.
It's all happening.
And we have Max and Nick from Arkells here to start the podcast, which is unique. We never usually start with a guest.
Ooh,
guys.
I like it.
Yeah,
You're
so it's
only
pretty cool.
the second. Jerry D is the other. Comedian Jerry D. So you guys are in
good
rare
company.
air.
Yeah, very good company. You've been doing press all day for the new record.
Yeah, we're up at the crack of dawn.
So Nick was saying he didn't have to do the morning stuff.
I was honest. I told him I didn't. Till 9.
Yeah, Mike and I had to do the morning stuff.
So and Nick kind of let me in on this, that because you're a Toronto guy and Mike's a Toronto guy, you guys kind of get saddled with the early morning press.
Yeah, so Mike and I both have places in Hamilton, but our significant others are in Toronto for school and work, so we're in Toronto a lot now too.
And the other guys take advantage of it, like Nick.
They get
Big
to sleep
time.
in.
Yeah.
Big
So
time.
lead us through. So we talking CP 24?
Yeah, we did CP
24.
Yeah, what did we do? We did CP24, all those morning shows.
I saw you on with George Logajanis, I think. Were you on with George?
Yeah, George.
And it's weird to see George do music interviews because he used to be on Much Music, remember?
That's right.
Tony? And he was like skinny rock and roll guy, and now he's like, filled out in a good way. Suits, looks like a banker, but he does a good rock and roll interview.
Yeah, it was a good day though to do those shows because it's not really the right medium to do anything like too intense or too heavy. So, but the royal family announced the baby on the way, and then also Pete Davidson, Ariana Grande broke up, so we had that to talk about. We ran into John Tory backstage at CP24.
He's always there. He's there like daily.
He lives in the basement. He lives in the basement.
Always and I like John Tory for that. Like, you watch him do the live press conferences with a reporter scrum, and it's almost like the reporters are trying to think of other questions to ask him because he's so eager to do more press. Like, honestly, we're ready to just leave here, John.
Well, the thing which was funny about this one is that he was there because he was like, look, on Wednesday when weed becomes legal, the city is going to get literally 10,000 phone calls from residents who are confused as to like, why is my neighbor smoking on the porch? Is he allowed to? And we're just going to say, yes, he's allowed to. It's legal.
Right.
And so that's why he had to do the rounds, just to be like, don't call us. It's legal.
It is a weird, this is weird, eh?
Yeah, it is a strange time.
So we're the second country. Who's the first?
Netherlands?
Yeah, Holland? I don't know.
That's what the information machine's for.
South Korea, maybe?
Yeah.
Really?
I don't know. I just guess that was my segue to talk about the fact that we missed each other in South Korea.
I know.
By seconds. You guys landed and we left.
You were doing your final show on the hill.
That's right.
And then had to get to the airport.
That we had
Because
to
you
literally
trade
get
deadline
up.
you have to be back
That's
for.
right. They made us come back and do the Monday trade deadline. It was brutal. But how was your experience over there, guys? That must have been incredible.
Yeah, it was great. We'd been to the Olympics in Vancouver, right?
Yeah.
In 2010, but because that was not just Vancouver, but we're familiar with Vancouver.
Right.
It was a lot less kind of exciting than getting to go to Korea.
Hop on a plane, and then you're in Canada House, and it's such a unique atmosphere because you've got all these Canadian athletes, their families, random Canadian stragglers like Dan and myself, mooching off everybody. But I love the videos that I saw of you guys. You made it almost like a campfire atmosphere, kind of.
Yeah, it was cool. Well, the story goes that we announced our Hamilton show we didn't announce it. Tessa and Scott announced our Hamilton show on the day the Olympics kicked off. We got a tweet from the Canada Olympic House saying that they were playing our song "Knocking at the Door" at the end of every day. We tweeted back, sort of half jokingly, "Hey, we should come over to play." And then one thing led to another, and we were on a plane. So
social media finally worked.
It actually worked. It was amazing. And but they didn't ever expect a band to play in Canada House. The only stage they had was a little podium.
Yeah,
and so when we said we were going to come and they invited us over, they literally had to source instruments. That we set up the drums on the little podium and we were on the floor like it was a house party. So it was really as spontaneous as it looked, and it really felt like a drunken house party. And the thing about going to the Olympics, in the tail end of it, is the Olympians most of them are finished their
they're just
event.
hanging out and drinking.
They're partying.
This is it.
Yeah.
They've been training 4 years. They've been like monks.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And so they finally get to let loose, and we ended up at the karaoke bar till 5 a.m. with the Canadian women's hockey team.
Yes.
Singing. And there's a great video of Nick singing Bon Jovi, "Living on a Prayer."
Well, the great thing about karaoke there is it's not like it is here most of the time where there's like 6 people in a room and one guy's like swaying with the mic at the front. They cram like 40 people into a room that should hold 15.
Oh, yeah.
And then everybody's just jumping up and down and screaming. It's like half karaoke, half mosh pit or something.
It lends itself to Bon Jovi.
It really does.
How many days did you go to Canada House?
Every day.
Yeah.
So you probably experienced the same thing. You see the same people, and it's like it's a small town. You're like, oh, what'd you do today?
Yeah, exactly.
What event did you see? And it's just you're catching up with the same people every day, and then having copious amounts of drinks with them.
Yeah. It was so much fun. It was so surreal. We've had a chance to do lots of cool stuff in this band, but that one sticks out.
Got an update. Christoph gave this to me. Uruguay is
Uruguay.
the first country that legalized weed.
Wow.
Can we also backtrack to the Pete Davidson, Ariana Grande?
Yeah. Actually, when you brought that up, I thought you guys might have some interesting things
what were
to
your
say
guys?
about that.
Let's get your takes on that.
Well, it was bound to happen.
Yeah.
Like,
Why? But they
Because
were
they're both-
engaged.
but
They
they're
were
both
in love.
Maybe it's a
insane.
once-in-a-lifetime thing.
Well, I imagine that he's sort of an unstable guy. He's talked about his,
Right, yes. Yeah.
And she's would seem to be I don't know. I can't imagine dating anybody like her. It would be very.
If anyone could do it, you could. I mean, you could. Let's find out. She's single now.
She is single.
Yeah. How do we make this happen? Social media.
So we send out the tweet.
Let's send the
What
tweet
do you
out.
think?
Speaking
Joel
of,
Embiid does that all the time to Rihanna.
That's true. He
Yeah.
does. It hasn't worked so
No, it
far.
hasn't.
Though. Seth Meyers is. I saw him. He was like, "That's his dream guest because he's got a crush on her," but apparently she's not.
What, Rihanna?
Yeah.
Oh, she's never.
But
done a
she's
show?
not. She's not buying it. She's not buying what Seth is selling.
There's a great story. Diplo, the producer Diplo, was in the studio with Rihanna and Future, and he just wanted to show Rihanna some of his beats that she might be able to sing on. It's in this GQ article, and it's like midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and he's not getting his chance to show her a song because Future and her keep on going back and forth with music. And then finally he's like, check out this beat I made. And then she's like, that sounds like airport reggae. Get that out of here.
Wow. Diplo.
Rihanna's the realest.
You know what? Someone needed to take Diplo down a notch.
And Rihanna did it.
And
So-
if anyone's going to do it, it's Rihanna.
So did Pete Davidson misstep by on the first episode of Saturday Night Live, the start of the season, they concentrated so much on her? Did she say, okay, this is getting weird?
I think it's this Mac Miller stuff. I think it's fresh.
Yeah.
You know? I think.
So she used to date him and he just died.
Yeah. That's. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, who knows? I do sometimes think it would be fascinating to be a fly on the wall in one of the conversations. I think about that often with like celebrities or Donald Trump or whoever. It's like just to be a fly on the wall, just to see how those conversations go.
Well, the thing I find fascinating now is like Colin Jost is dating Scarlett Johansson and Pete was dating Ariana Grande. And obviously they meet these women at the show. And I think I heard like Dana Carvey on a podcast say, we never got any of the girls of the day. You know, like no one, we never got to, we barely got to talk to them. Like, how is this happening? This is like, suddenly these SNL guys are like really cool.
Yeah, like suave
And
dudes.
people actually want to date them. Women actually want to date them. So yeah, that's the thing that's fascinating to me is that these guys are all of a sudden, because they used to just be comedy nerds.
Yeah,
right?
they weren't the cool guys. But
Yeah.
Colin Jost is kind of handsome.
Yeah, comedy nerds are cool now.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about the record. It's out Friday. I was lucky enough to hang out with you guys when you were recording a bit.
Yeah, you came by.
That was fantastic, man. It was so cool. The thing that struck me so much is how relaxed you guys all were. Like, is it always that relaxed in the studio? Is there ever a moment where there's a little tension? Because it didn't seem like... I remember leaving that day thinking, I can't see these guys ever really getting too hangry at each other. I brought you cupcakes to make sure that you weren't too
that was very
too
sweet.
hangry.
Yeah. Well, weed might be getting legalized this week, but it was certainly decriminalized when we were in the studio.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, as
Which
it
again
should be.
made the cupcakes better.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things about being in a band is you have to learn how to work together. Like group work is, especially when you're kind of creating something from nothing, can be a very stressful thing. And I think everybody over the years has learned different ways to work within a group. So I think for me, for instance, on this record, I realized it's like if I'm around and hovering over people as they're trying to execute their performance, it might not be very helpful.
Right.
So I'd go out for walks. I met you for breakfast one day while guys were working on stuff. And it was kind of delightful to be able to like leave the studio, come back, and Nick had a bunch of bass stuff like finish. I'm like, oh wow, that sounds awesome. And he'd come up with things that I know if I had been in the room would have been worse.
And when you guys do, you talk about like your creative process. How does it start? Does it start with lyrics? Does it start? I notice a lot of the tracks on the new record, at least the 4 that I've been listening to, because I've been listening to the 4 on my Apple Music. We're pretty bass-driven melodically, Nick. Like you kind of are pushing the melody with your instrument. Is that like do you get a chance to kind of start to write yourself? Who kind of starts the process when it comes to the songwriting?
Usually, what happens is Max will send around demos of like either him on a piano or him with like a drum beat that Tim has sent to him, and then because we're so busy like touring and stuff, we don't necessarily all get in a room, but we'll email the demos to each other, and I'll get it. I'll play on it, send it back to the guys and the producer. Mike will play on it. Tony will play on it. And that's kind of how we have been like kind of building songs up, at least for this last record, which is kind of different than our older records where we would get
So
together.
in the past, you'd be in a room together more and maybe jam a bit or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said for that, being in a room and reacting to each other. But also, I find that when there's 5 guys playing loud in a room, no one's really listening to each other. So if you have a chance to actually like sit with the song and like really kind of take it in and have your own time and space to do it, in the same way that I get to do that with lyrics, you know, or sitting at the piano for a chord progression. It allows everybody has a chance to kind of sit in their underwear at home and kind of think about it, and then, and so by the time we get into the studio, like Nick would come in with a bunch of ideas.
Right.
So but typically, it starts on my out of tune piano. I send it to Tony. Tony has to. Because my piano's a half step out of tune, so Tony has to re-record my piano part, and then everybody else can play on it.
Right.
After
Thank
a
God
record
for
is
Tony.
done, do you ever... Oh, sorry, I'm sick.
Do we have that old man Toolsy drop? Stop.
Old man Toolsy.
Good work. That was much heavier then, too.
Much heavier.
After a record's done and then you go back like years later and listen to it, do you listen to some of the songs, or even like a one that you just completed? Do you listen to a song and say, man, I wish we did this different. I wish we did that different. Or once it's done, you're done thinking about that?
Oh, I hardly listen to our old records. I can't even look at like a picture from a long time ago.
right.
It's like, oh, get that out of here. Like, I think
there's old pictures of Max where we've convinced crew guys that he was actually in the Sheepdogs. Like big beard,
Really?
long, curly
Oh, we have
hair.
to make sure we get those pictures, Nick, and we'll send them out on our Twitter account for the world.
Yeah, you know, I think that's one of the ways I stay optimistic is that I don't think too hard about what used to happen. You know?
Yeah, right. Neither do we.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, because I find. Like looking back sometimes to be like, oh God, really? And so there's, and I'm proud of all the records, but I don't really think much.
We did that last night. We found an old bit where it wasn't even a bit. I was on the road reporting on like a Carolina Jersey game, and it was embarrassing. I was a bad broadcaster. This was like from 2013. So.
Well, you looked like 12. First of all. You looked so young. But it was the reason we brought it out is because Carolina played Winnipeg last night, and Rod Brindamore is now Carolina's coach, and we always joke about how he could literally rip his suit off and just go onto the ice and play because he's probably in better shape than everybody in the league still. But Dan interviewed Brindamore while he was playing in that Carolina series, and
And I asked him a question about Marty Brodeur, and I'm like, trying to be fun. I'm like, hey, I'm the new guy. So I say to him, hey, that Marty Brodeur, pretty good goalie, hey? He's like, yeah, what kind of a stupid question is that? So I'm like,
Speaking of good-looking coaches, the Leafs invited us to a game the other day, and we got to sit second row right behind Babs.
nice.
Good head of hair, that guy.
Oh, great
yeah,
head
but
of hair.
terrifying human.
Good
The
Saskatoon head of hair.
jawline? Oh, my
my
goodness.
God.
Yeah, he terrifies
Do you
us
think
on
he
a
dyes
daily
his hair?
basis. That's a good question. I don't think so. He
He's
doesn't
got no
seem
time
like the
for that.
type.
No
Yeah, that seems like that's something that would just be ridiculous to him, to do that.
But he's really put together. Those,
He
you know
is.
what I mean? I think.
But
there's
do you
something-
notice today, for instance, after I watched you guys on CP24, they always have the Leafs live media scrum, and it's Babcock, and he always goes right off the ice, right to the reporters because he's like, I want to get this done.
Mm-hmm.
And he's sweating like he works hard in practice.
Oh,
like
yeah.
he's like out there skating.
He
like
must
an
work
insane
out
man.
too, though.
He must.
He must. Like his pecs.
Wow, you guys really checked
You
it out.
guys are like fascinated by
we were
Babs.
right behind him, and we were just kind of checking him out the whole time.
Speaking of coaches working out, my dad had a good question, and he doesn't really follow hockey much at all. We were watching like a game one Saturday night when I was at home, and the Stars were playing. And just out of nowhere, he goes, "Hey Nick, do those coaches, do they have to like skate around and practice and stuff?" I was like, I don't know, Dad. Probably. Why? He's like, because that Dallas coach has a big middle.
Oh, probably Ken Hitchcock.
It was Ken
Yeah.
Hitchcock. And I thought,
Yeah.
that's a really nice way to say that.
Yeah,
big middle.
A big
yeah,
middle.
big middle. I mean, it's the one thing about Ken Hitchcock. It's a testament to how great a coach he must be that he has looked like that ever since junior. He coached in junior, and he was even bigger than that. I heard a rumor that they used to play that some. Arenas would play the A&W Root Bear song when he would
that's
come in,
just
like really cruel
That's-
stuff.
oh,
Like he
wow.
was huge, he was massive, but he ascended to this incredible Hall of Fame coach. Like, there's got to be doing something right. Dave Reed, I remember he came to work at TSN right after he won the Cup with the Avalanche. He said, my least favorite and also best coach I've ever had. And it seems to be like almost like a theme with these guys.
Yeah.
Same with Babcock. Like, I don't think, ask Mike Commodore, I don't think many guys love Babcock by the time they're done playing for him.
Sure.
But,
Yeah,
I
but he
think they
wins.
also know
He
that
wins,
he
yeah.
wins.
I don't think
you
a
know?
coach is there to make friends.
Yeah, okay, here's a question. So, the band is pals with Kyle Dubas, and he's a big music fan. He's married to a Hamilton gal. Couldn't be a sweeter guy, has a great family. And my uncle, who is kind of an old school hockey kind of guy, he knows that we're pals with Kyle. And over the weekend at Thanksgiving, he goes, "You're friends with Kyle Dubas, right?" I was like, "Yeah." It's like, ask him why he wears those stupid glasses. He looks like such a nerd in those
Did you tell him to see?
And then I never thought about that.
To see?
Because I hang around with band dudes all the time, and to me, those glasses kind of seem cool.
I thought so. I thought that was like the cool thing that the young GM was
But I
doing.
wonder for the old conservative hockey guys in their 50s, if they look at Kyle Dubas and go, what's this nerd doing? But then I thought, is Kyle wearing the glasses to appeal to the nerdy analytics community to get respect from the young 20-somethings? Like, is he trying to do appeal to both sides? Because he looks kind of like a hockey guy, but then he's also appealing to the nerds.
Yeah, he's so young. Weirdly enough, this ties in slightly. Sunday, I went to my third Wiggles concert in the last year.
The Wiggles, raking
Third
it in.
Wiggles concert. Like, I'm giving the Wiggles, I'm making them richer than they already are. And I'm sitting there, and my wife, she elbows me and says, "I think that's Kyle. I think he's like 2 rows ahead of us." And I looked over, and it was him. And I went over and chatted with him a bit, and his wife was there. And
Shannon, yeah.
But I felt so bad because, like, our daughter's a little older, so she's up dancing and stuff. But their little guy was maybe 1, and he was not having it. He was just not having it.
Oh,
and,
really?
And they got out of there. And to be honest, after I watched the show, I thought, you know what? That kid's right. They weren't that good.
Are they mailing it in now?
Yeah, I think they're mailing it in a little bit, yeah. Because the boy and girl Wiggle were married, now they're getting divorced.
Oh, no.
It's like Fleetwood Mac now. There's tension.
Yeah, the lawsuit was announced for that $12 million he's going after.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Lindsay?
What do you guys think about that? This Fleetwood Mac thing, Lindsay's suing the band for firing him for 12 or 14 million bucks or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to keep a good eye on the precedent it might send.
Yeah, right.
If anybody needs to get terminated.
See how it goes for you guys down the road, right?
You know, the thing that kind of blows me away about that is you think as people age, they sort of level out. And, like, you know, there's lots of, you know, parents that go through divorces in their 30s, but by the time they're 60, they're like, whatever, that was a different time in my life.
Absolutely.
The fact, because the guy who mixed our last two records, Mark Needham, he's pals with, he produced the last Fleetwood Mac, the Lindsey Buckingham, Christine McVie record that came out last year, and he's friends with Lindsey. And he said that last record was supposed to be a Fleetwood Mac record. But Lindsey and Stevie couldn't get along.
Right.
And so that's why it was a Lindsey.
Yeah, what happened between
apparently, like Lindsey last week said, well, Stevie told the rest of the band, I don't want to be on stage with him ever again. But I'm like, you guys live together?
Yeah.
I know there was a lot of history. Yeah, why now? Why? Well, here's another question for you guys. Like, I'm amazed at bands that have longevity, and then at some point, one guy will drop out because he's not happy about the creative direction of the band and really be bitter about it. You know what I mean? And be angry about it. And I'm always like, why not? Why not just show up, perform, and leave? Do you necessarily have to, like when you guys perform, couldn't you just get by if you weren't getting along? Couldn't you get by just performing?
Oh, I mean, it's probably, if you have such disdain for your bandmates, but you're in a like a van or like,
right,
I can understand
That's
why that
different.
would be difficult.
Yeah.
But if you're Fleetwood Mac, like, you know how the songs go,
right?
And they could each have their own bus.
The stage is gigantic. You can literally do the Les Nessman thing and mark off your own spot.
I heard that when they're on tour, they rent out like the top 2 floors of the most expensive hotel in Chicago, and they take a private jet back to that hotel every night after the gig.
Good for them.
Yeah, and it's like they could not be rolling any nicer.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is crazy.
So I guess that's why. Yeah, what possibly could have happened between Stevie and Lindsey at this point to make her say, I can't go on tour with him anymore. But everyone else is like, we've got financial obligations.
Yeah, I guess just the reality for their life has been something that none of us can relate to on any level, and they've been living it for the last 40 years. Like, they've been incredibly rich for so long.
Yeah. No one's telling her no for anything. So if she has a weird idea like that, nobody's going to be like,
that's a good point, Nick.
Don't maybe walk that back. No, she's Stevie Nicks. They'll be like, okay, Stevie.
And then she comes in and says, I'll bring in Mike Campbell from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and I'll bring in Neil Finn from Crowded House to replace him. And they're like, oh, actually, that sounds pretty good.
And also, you know what? I went to that Christine McVie, Lindsey Buckingham show 2 summers ago at Budweiser stage, and it wasn't busy. Like, compared to the Fleetwood Mac shows, which are always sold out.
Yeah.
And I think Stevie knows she's the ticket.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. She is that band, for sure. And now, you guys are going on tour right away.
Yeah.
When you leave this weekend?
Yeah, we fly down to Phoenix on Saturday.
Is that how it's pronounced?
Phoenix?
Phoenix.
Phoenix, yeah. We're going to be gone more or less till December 1st in UK, Germany, US.
Amazing.
Okay, so speaking of those places, aside from USA and Canada, what country do you guys have the biggest fan base? Like, off the beaten track, one where you're like, wow, how did they even get our music over here?
Good question. I mean, we've been kind of
We get surprised when it's outside of Hamilton.
Yeah. It's true.
We can be in Guelph and be like, wow, whoa.
Guelph likes us.
I mean, I think we spent a bunch of time in, like, Berlin and Hamburg and London. And, like, for our band, it's never been like, we had a hit on the radio in a random town and we showed up and there was 1,000 people waiting there for us. It's always like there's a direct correlation between the amount of times we played a place and how many people show up if you were to graph it out.
So right now you can't say like you're big in New Zealand?
No, I wish, but definitely not.
But is it weird for you? Like, I think you opened for Frank Turner, right, in the UK last year, or was it this year?
Yeah, in the spring,
In the spring, and then you come over here and he opens for you guys.
Yeah.
Which I kind of dig, that kind of dichotomy or whatever.
We've been doing that since college.
Really?
Yeah.
The old trade.
The old show trade? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so give me
that's
some
an old trade.
other examples. Who else?
Oh, I mean, back in college, you'd be like some random indie band from Guelph would be like, we'll give you a Hamilton show if you give us a Guelph show.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like, as much as the internet has broken down borders, there's still an element of, patriotism when it comes to what music is being received. So, for instance, like we played a festival in Edmonton, and Jimmy Eat World played before us.
Right.
But Jimmy Eat World are like a legendary band.
Yeah.
And if we were to play in America, obviously we'd be opening for them.
Right.
So that kind of thing happens.
So now you go down to America. What's the response like? Is it? It's always weird with America, right? Like, is it still something you guys are like, we have to destroy it here, we have to become gigantic here, or do you not care that much?
No, I mean we try to treat every market as its own thing. So it's like if we played to 600 people in New York, let's try to play to 1,000 the next time. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like each thing is relative, and it's really about building like a real relationship with each one of those towns. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think we like going to America because, one, it's close, you know. Two, the cities are pretty awesome to just be able to hang out in for a couple of days. And then the other thing is it's just like such an important place for like Western music, right?
Yeah.
Like the kind of music we play,
Yeah.
a lot of it is born out of America. And so it's definitely an important place for us, I think.
And you two guys get to go to ballparks on
Yeah.
the road. So
Yes.
you've been to, you got to talk to me about this. How many parks have you been to?
What's our number, Nick?
It's probably around 15. We've probably been to around
I thought more. No.
Maybe 17, 18.
And what's number one on the?
Yeah. Can we get another drop? Can we get one more?
What's number one on the list? What's number 15 on the list?
Old man Toolsy.
I like the harmonica. That's great. I mean, number one, it's got to be Wrigley or Fenway, right?
I'm going to debate you on this.
Oh, okay.
So
I love this.
At this point in time, there's so many beautiful ballparks. There's so many. They all overlook the city skyline. They all have great food and amenities. But there's only one Oakland Coliseum.
Yeah.
The Oakland Coliseum looks like it was in Mad Max.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, the sewers overflowed there last year.
Yeah, there's literally barbed wire on the path to get from the subway to the stadium. That was
Right.
like just so memorable.
Bit
and kind
jarring.
Of how janky it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, we took the BART over there from San Francisco, and we were like doing the earnest, travel guy thing. We're like, oh, so what are the cool spots around the ballpark to go check out? And they looked like, you don't want to go anywhere near the ballpark. And then
Unless you like rail yards.
yeah. And then we get a ticket. It's April, by the way. It's like the A's are not good at this point. And we asked the ticket taker, we're like, what's like the best food in the ballpark? And they're like, well, we got some garlic fries, but they're not as good as the garlic fries in San Francisco. I was like, okay.
Wow. Okay, I have to ask you guys before we let you go. We're gonna do the TV show with you. Before I let you go, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame announced their nominees for this year. I think you guys have seen this list.
We're
but
on it, yeah,
You
yeah.
got it? Okay, you got it.
We're on
Okay. So I wanted you to pick three of these bands.
Do you have
I'll
the list?
I'll
Oh,
list
okay,
I'll list them off to you. Def Leppard, Devo, Janet Jackson, John Prine, Kraftwerk, LL Cool J, MC5, Radiohead, Rage Against the Machine, Roxy Music, Stevie Nicks, boom, The Cure, and just a few more. Todd Rundgren, Chaka Khan, and the Zombies. Odyssey and Oracle, the Zombies.
How many officially get in?
I don't know if there's like an exact limit. Don't know the rules. I don't know if there's a certain number that have to get in, but I'm going to say 3. Let's say 3. Okay,
I'm
3
going to
of
go
those.
with my 3.
Okay, what do you got?
Rage Against the Machine,
Yeah.
Stevie Nicks, John Prine.
Wow, look at you, Toolsy. I like those picks. Okay, Nick.
Okay, I'm going Rage, Janet Jackson, and John Prine too.
Wow, so two now this has
dance
been
3, yeah.
spilled on. I apologize, Max. It's hard to read. So 2 for Prine, 2 for Rage. Okay.
John Prine, my brother Vince's favorite singer.
Yeah, like I'm actually there's a few that I'm surprised aren't in already, like Prine.
Well,
And-
shouldn't he be in the Country Music Hall of Fame?
Well, this is the other thing. This is what I was going to
probably
bring
in
up with
there
you
already,
guys. Like, I would put Janet, if I have to pick this list and say, okay, who should be in, well, I picked Janet Jackson. But Janet Jackson wasn't like, other than Black Cat, it doesn't seem like a rock and roll singer. Like, there's, like the Beastie Boys are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I love the Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
I find it weird. I feel like there should be a hip hop.
Yeah, well,
soul-
then it gets back to the question: is like, what is rock?
What's
music?
rock music? Yeah.
it
so-
should be like the spirit of sex, drugs, and whatever.
I guess so, yeah.
But
I probably pick Janet in there. I pick Janet. I pick The Cure. To me, The Cure is like a band that is so influential. Maybe not as much in North America, but I just feel like The Cure should be there. And then I'd pick
Def
Radiohead.
Leppard's not in it?
I feel like Def Leppard, no matter what you think of that style of music, they had the biggest album on the planet, and Hysteria was like sold zillions of copies.
Yeah, I think
about
Def Leppard, but I'm shocked they're not on the Rock
I
and Roll
think they should be in.
Whenever I hear the start of a Def Leppard song, I'm like, yes, it's Pour Some Sugar on Me. Oh, no, it's not. Sounded like it.
Hey, they got me again. Yeah, I mean, I'd say Radiohead. Again, this is...
No, but Radiohead doesn't care. They wouldn't even show up.
I know, but that shouldn't keep them from the hall.
That's
Nick.
true.
That shouldn't keep them from the hall.
Stevie Nicks, just because she's a boss lady, as we know.
Yeah,
and
she is.
you know what's funny? Like another one, like Kraftwerk. I don't know much Kraftwerk, but I know they're very influential.
Yeah.
Like they have... Like they're the godfathers of electronic music.
Right.
So then you're
So
like,
they
okay,
probably should be in
it.
There's a lot of
But like
bands
The
there
Cure-
that should already be in.
Is there a limit to how many people can get in?
I don't know. I don't know the rules. I know Tony Zambor probably does know that. Okay, Tony doesn't know.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean,
It's a fun debate. It's a fun little debate.
You know what? I'm going to be honest. I feel like I said John Prine because it's like
cool
when
guy
you,
answer?
Yeah, it's
Cool
like when you
thing
have
to
infinite jest on your bookshelf.
Right.
No, but Prine, and he doesn't have much longer for this world, so...
That's true.
He's coming here
Lifetime
at the
achievement.
Wiggles show I saw. They were advertising Prine's coming to the Sony Center.
He's not touring with the Wiggles, though, right?
I don't know. He
they're
might be opening.
Yeah.
Christoph says it's the top 5 that get in each year.
It's the top 5. Okay, so we could have picked a couple more. All right, we're going to let you guys go. We're going to let you wander over to our other set, take a quick break, and then we're going to come interview you on the television so you can, I don't know, primp or do whatever.
Watch out for a fox. When I was driving into the lot tonight, there's a... Usually foxes are tiny. There's a massive fox out there.
really?
Yeah.
We also had skunks on the lot.
Oh, wow.
And we had
Coyotes. We had coyotes.
Noah's Ark over here.
So if you're wondering what happened to 2/5 of the Arkells before the album came out.
How great would that be if you got bit by a fox?
Oh, man, that'd be a good news story.
Then you could sue
You can't buy that press, you know?
You can sue the hell out of Bell, right? Build your own studios.
No, you could just take... Oh, well, you wouldn't want your studios up here. Never mind.
No, we're the only ones.
Actually, I did say that because coming, I'm a downtown guy myself, and coming up here is tough if you have to go through the rush hour traffic.
True.
I said to Tony Zambor, I said, if I was negotiating a contract, if I was a big TV star like yourself,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
live downtown, I'd say I'd take half the amount of money to be able to do 299 Queen.
So when they approached us about
Yeah.
coming back when we were in Los Angeles, the very first thing I said was, "Hey guys, listen, we want to get." We want to get Max and Nick from Arkells on. We want to get big names on the show, and they don't want to come up to Scarborough. Okay, all due respect to Scarborough, they don't want to do that. Let's do a little set. We don't have to do a big set because they're like, we're going to do a big set. We're like, we don't need that. Just a little set down at 299 Queen, the old Much Music building. We'll do it. Maybe we'll get some crowds at night. Maybe people will come. It'll be a tourist attraction. They're like, no, we'll pay you more money. We'd rather not do that.
Not a conversation.
Yeah, so it's just not happening. So we're here forever.
So,
We can be happier.
So good luck with the wildlife. Is Danny here?
Okay, Danny's going to... Oh, but now before Danny goes, Danny, can you hop on the mic?
There you
Oh,
go.
Danny's in there?
Yeah. And we just want to get one quick update from Danny. And Max and Nick,
All
bear
right, I
with
hear
me
you.
here. Danny is our social media guy. Nicest guy ever. Danny is from... Where are you from, Danny?
I'm from the Hammer.
The
Hey!
Hammer. There it is. And so it's the All Hamilton show. The reason we wanted to have Danny on, we're going to have Danny on quite a bit more, but Ben Teller is our old social media guy from Fox. And he makes Dan uncomfortable, very uncomfortable when he comes on and talks about his extremely awkward dating life. So Dan wanted to limit his appearances to once every 2 months.
I wanted to limit it to never.
To never. But he agreed to every 2 months. I want it every month because it's so funny to see how uncomfortable he gets. So we actually sent it out to the listeners in a poll. Danny, would you like to reveal the results of that poll?
So what the poll was exactly was, did the Jay and Dan podcast listeners miss Ben Teller? And so what Ben said was, if it's over 50%, he comes on once a month. Toolsy, got some bad news for you.
Oh.
66%.
Unbelievable.
Miss Ben.
That's like
Ben's coming
Chrétien's referendum rules. That's like clear majority.
How many people voted? 10?
Says here over 2,000, just over 2,000.
Toolsy, I'm sorry. It's going to be a lot of Ben on the show.
I'll just take bathroom breaks when he's on.
All right, fair enough. Max, Nix, thank you so much, guys. And the new album is out this Friday, October the 19th. It's called Rally Cry. And the 4 songs that I've been listening to for the last 3 weeks are incredible.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having us in.
Can't wait to see you on the TV.
Danny's going to come in now and escort you out. We've never had this happen. We used to just kick people out, but now you're getting an actual escort out of here. And Tony's hanging out.
I don't
doing
know where
his
Danny
thing.
is. Danny?
We're not
He's
that
coming.
organized.
He's coming.
There he is. Okay.
Okay, gentlemen. All right, so we'll see you over on the TV
We'll see you in
side.
2 seconds.
Yeah, we'll be there. We're going to take care of Dan's got some things he wants to say about Ben Teller. Thanks, fellas.
Hey, I forgot to ask you guys, have you ever been on the stage with Choir?
No, it's in the works. We're going to do something.
It's in the works. Oh, okay.
Okay. We'll talk about that on the TV show exclusively. Hey,
So Wiggles, no good?
Actually, they were really good. They were really good. They're always good, Dan.
What's a ticket to the Wiggles cost?
I think they are very conscientious about keeping it affordable for everybody. So I think it was it wasn't very expensive, like maybe $40 or something like that. It was pretty reasonable.
Okay.
And then it's an hour. And the thing with those guys is that the songs are like 18 seconds, right? So they're just going boom, 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 boom. Dubas was nice, though. Nice guy. Super friendly. I've been, we've all been there.
He looks friendly. He's always smiling.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got every reason to smile. Right now, his buds are up 3-1 as we tape this over the LA Kings.
On the Kings, on the La Kings. How was your weekend? You just rocking it out in Orono? By the way, Captain Feathersword of the Wiggles, they tried to get him to say Toronto without the T's, and I was all excited. I was like, he's going to say Orono. And he went, Arano? So
that's what people do say when they see it on my birth certificate. Well, I have a grievance to air.
Oh, boy.
Brand new casino. Again, a casino just opened up in my hometown today. They built the casino in approximately 60 days.
Wow.
State-of-the-art casino. And
it's in Peterborough.
Yes.
So what's stopping you from just making the move to Peterborough now?
Here's what I'm going to tell you.
Oh, okay. I remember this now.
No craps tables.
Yeah.
So
did they tell you why?
No. I just been told that there's no craps tables. So that's like if you were a kid and an ice cream shop goes in next to you and all they sell, you're like, I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Yeah.
And all they sell is vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, that's no fun. That's no fun at all.
Where is the banana hot dog?
I will never enter that casino.
Well, come on. You'll be up in Peterborough at some point, and you'll play a little blackjack or something.
I don't play that.
Maybe, how about some poker?
You're going to have to start gambling on Monopoly. We got in a Monopoly kick this weekend.
I mean, poker, the one thing I never did understand about casinos is the poker rooms, because it just seemed extremely depressing. Just go sit in a poker room for hours. Like, at least the other forms of gambling, craps, blackjack, they're kind of social, You're kind of hanging out with everybody.
Craps is the most fun game in the casino.
Craps
Everyone's
is
in on it.
really fun to gamble, and everybody's in on it together. Whereas poker, the whole point is to shut your emotions down completely.
Yeah.
And put on headphones and glasses. And it always seemed like going to Vegas to play poker, that just seemed sad somehow to me.
And so they built this casino in 60 days, and I told you this the other day on set. There's a bridge on the 115 over the Otonabee River that they've been working on for 3 years.
The priorities. They've got their priorities straight.
Yeah. Engineer Jim, how long does it take to build a casino?
I don't know. I would have to say a couple of years minimum.
Yeah, well, they set records in my hometown building the casino there. Whoever built it, hire them to build your next project.
How are you, Jim? How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you guys?
We haven't talked to you forever.
Forever. Did you guys have a good summer?
We had a great summer. We took a lot of it off. How about yourself? Did you get back out to the Cape, to Cape Cod?
You know what? I wound up staying out here this year. simply because I worked on the Men's World Cup.
Oh, right. Fox had the World Cup, yes.
Yeah.
And now you're knee deep in the baseball playoffs.
Knee deep in baseball. I actually worked on the stuff for the Dodgers game that's airing as we speak. I was there at 7 this morning, and I just got home.
Wow.
And now we have Thursday night football too. So I'm slammed.
I tell you, love or hate the Dodgers, their games, they're exciting.
Yeah, they are. And I think the Brewers are a fun team to watch.
They are fun.
I really like them.
Yeah, I'm kind of rooting for them.
I'm actually torn because the Dodgers are sort of my National League team, but it's hard not to love the Brew Crew and want them to win, and it's a good baseball
really
market. And, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm a huge Red Sox guy, and I would love to see the Red Sox and the Dodgers in the World Series because that means I'd probably get to go to a game out here. But at the same time, I really like the Brewers. I mean, I'd love to see that matchup.
But here's the problem with the Red Sox. Their games, minimum 5.5 hours. It's ridiculous.
And you know what else? Jim? Who doesn't want the Brewers to win? Eric Shanks, president of Fox Sports, president and CEO of Fox Sports. That is the last team he wants to win. He is jonesing for that Dodgers Red Sox World Series. That's money in his pocket. That's a bonus for him. I'll never forget when the Jays in 2015, 2016 were going on those playoff runs and they were in the championship series, and I'm sitting in the makeup chair at Fox, and he comes up behind me and whispers in my ear, "If the Jays get into the World Series, you're fire." And I think he was serious. Jim. Hey, Jim.
Yeah, I believe that he probably was serious. Yeah.
Now I sent you a list of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees, and so I'm gonna read them to you again very quickly.
Okay.
You give me 3 to 5 of these that you think should automatically be in. Okay.
Yes.
Def Leppard. Devo.
Yes.
Janet Jackson. John Prine.
Yes.
Kraftwerk.
Yes.
LL Cool J.
Love LL Cool J.
MC5. Motor
Love
City
the
5.
MC5. How do you not? This list is insane.
I've never heard of that band.
Let them all go.
Yeah, I agree. If you told me that all the bands I just listed were already in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, including Janet Jackson, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Wait, who the hell is MC5?
Jim, how would you describe them? Like punk band from Detroit?
Yeah, like garage rock band.
Right, not punk.
Yeah, like garage rock.
Right, garage rock band from Detroit.
Okay.
From Detroit, yeah. And, Wayne Kramer, kick-ass guitar player. They're really cool.
Really influential. Again, some of these bands are more influential than had major success. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Radiohead. Rage Against the Machine.
Hell yeah.
Roxy Music. How are they not in already? Stevie Nicks. Stevie Nicks is probably in with Fleetwood Mac, but this is her as a solo artist.
So I love her as a solo artist, but I'm gonna nix her off the list only because I gotta say some of these other. We gotta make room for some of these other bands.
I agree, and she's already in.
She's phenomenal, and if she's already in, let's not put her in on this time around.
Listen, Belladonna is a great album. If you don't have it, go pick it up. It's such a great,
unbelievable.
Jimmy Iovine produced record. Okay, and then we've got The Cure.
Just seminal band.
Exactly. Like, they're so good. Todd Rundgren. Rundgren is not in.
It's insane. And, the artists that Rundgren have as a producer is unbelievable. He produced bands like Grand Funk Railroad and Badfinger, Meatloaf, the band, New York Dolls. I mean, the guy's a phenomenal producer. The list of artists he's produced is as big as his, discography. It's insane.
And then finally, the last two, Chaka Khan.
Yep.
And the Zombies, Odyssey and Oracle. Great record.
Yep.
I don't know if maybe they didn't put out enough maybe to get in. I don't know, but
So 3 or 5? Or
Okay,
4?
so,
up to 5 bands. Who would you throw
I have a
in?
question. I don't know if you mentioned Kraftwerk.
yeah, Kraftwerk. I mean, we had Max from the Arkells on, and he said he doesn't know much Kraftwerk. I don't know that much Kraftwerk, but I know Kraftwerk probably should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Maybe.
All right. So here's the deal with Kraftwerk. They really are sort of like the pioneers, kind of the innovators of electronic music.
Right.
Sort of that whole Depeche Mode vibe, but like the Human League and, Soft Cell and Gary Newman, here in my heart. And,
basically
all that
everything that came out in the 80s had a touch of Kraftwerk in it.
Yeah. They kind of invented the vocoder, that, and the use of drum machines and synths. They really were the first ones to kind of do that stuff. They're real electronic music pioneers. So, in a way, I kind of, because of their influence, I almost feel like they need to go in. But
I agree.
How do you, look at all the records Def Leppard sold and how huge they are, and the same with Janet Jackson. But, I look at artists like Kraftwerk and Devo and the influence Devo had on other bands. And really even, Roxy Music. But, I guess if I'm going to pick 5, I'll go, because of the influence, Kraftwerk and Devo. And then I'm going to pick, Radiohead and Rage Against the Machine. I just feel like they're going to get nominated again.
Yeah.
What about some of these other artists? But I'm all right. So I'm going to say The Cure. I'm going to say Kraftwerk, Devo, and I don't know. I really don't know. The MC5 should be in there. Roxy Music should be in there. Todd Rundgren should be in there.
The great thing about this list, there's no wrong answers.
And the other thing, Jim,
there isn't.
Don't you think that literally if someone said all the bands I listed and artists, and someone said they're all going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year, everyone would be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. Why don't they just put them all in?
You know what? I'm down. I totally agree with you.
Just throw them all in there.
This is the year they should do that.
Jim, we have to go. We have to cut this a little short. We got to run, but it was fun catching up. It was fun catching up with you, my friend.
Yeah, it was fun catching up. Yeah, because I did want to mention really quick a couple of people that passed that had that I had a chance to work with, like Burt Reynolds, and Jeff Emmerich, who was the Beatles' famous engineer, and Paul Allen.
Oh, Paul Allen you worked with. Okay, here's the thing. Can we pick this up next week? Can we talk to you? Yeah. I want to talk to you about Burt for sure. We need to talk about this.
I got some good Burt Reynolds.
Okay,
stuff,
this is what a promise to the listeners. Next week we get Jim back on. We go longer with Jim, and we have a nice long chat about Burt and Paul Allen. And wow, this will be great.
Got some good Paul Allen stuff, and of course Jeff Emmerich. When I worked with him, he's that guy.
He was like the engineer, right? Is that right?
For the Beatles.
For the Beatles,
He did Abbey Road and Sgt. Pepper's.
Oh man, the stories.
It's kind of one of the reasons I do what I do is because of that guy, and to work with him in the studio and have him tell me that I'm the genius was pretty amazing.
Anyone who's ever worked with you would agree, by the way. Anyone who's ever worked with you would agree.
I don't know about that.
Okay, but, Jim, we're gonna let you go. We're gonna call you back next week. We're gonna pick up this conversation.
Sounds great. Love you guys.
Love you, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
Everybody in LA sends their love.
They're the best. I miss you guys so much. Take care, Jim.
We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you.
All right, we got to wrap it up. We got to go interview Arkells for the television program.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.